Hey, alright, so this is the ride I was hoping for. Or semblance thereof. Yep, gonna go by Grandma's house. Over the hills and through the woods.
Over the meadow and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go. The horseman's away to take our big sleigh through the wild and woolly snow.
We're going to do that to get to a spot I want to be at to tell a little story about my buddy and I. My buddy that passed away at the beginning of the month, and I do appreciate everybody's kind words. And yes, I am remembering all the good times we had. Boy, we did some stuff. We had some fun. But some was somewhat crazy, and you'll see that coming up. But at this point, I would be remiss if I didn't also update you on the electrical issues that caused the other ride to happen. Turns out it was rather simple. And something where if I'd used any of my brains and experience, I probably could have figured out for myself. But seeing as I have the ability to turn a $10 job into a $2,000 job all too easily, plus me having to get down on my hands and knees on the floor and then trying to get back up again, that never goes well. So I spend the money and call the experts. But what it turned out to be was the wires in the plug at the stove had come loose. Electrician says apparently they can loosen up over time. He says often it's more damage in that it will burn the actual connections. Mine hadn't gotten that far yet. But there was also a little connector plate in the plug that had broken, so a new plug and tightening down of the wires, and everything's back to normal. Yeah, boy. So if you ever call a repairman and he comes over and he says you only have 120, and then he checks the plug and it says you have 240, say thank you very much and go down, pop the breaker and check your connection. So yep, I'm able to cook again and make myself stay. That's my current body mass. Not that I shouldn't lose a few, but hey, if I cook another pizza, it's going to get cooked. Yay. So I'll be back with you when we get closer to Grandma's house. When something fun and funky happens along the way. Downtown Rumney, New Hampshire. Your quintessential small New England town. And we're now officially on Buffalo Road. Oh, damn, that was a big one. The road to Grandma's house. And Grandma's be right up here on the left. Yep, that's it. We used to cut across this field and go swimming in the creek over there in the Pemmy. Oh, and what was that? Ed and what was the woman's name? Lived across the street. God, they were a funny old couple. They were hilarious. They cooked and heated the house with old cast iron kitchen stoves, and you go in there in the summertime and it'd be about 140 degrees, and she'd be dressed up in a flannel shirt and coveralls, and go over and open up the refrigerator, and it was just chock full. It was chock full of Budweiser. Yes, sirree. Oh, they were a fun old couple. God, the stories they'd tell. They'd tease the kids. But here's where I wanted to bring you. This is now an official climbing center. One day Scott and I were out for a ride, and this parking lot wasn't here at the time. Handicapped, it's mental deficiency, trust me. Just pull a quick U-turn and look up the hill a bit. Now there's barely even a pullout, but if you look, you can see somebody on that cliff right there. And this is actually now a rock climbing school in the summertime. But one day my buddy and I were out cruising around and went by Grandma's house and found some reason to laugh about that. And we saw these big rocks on our right, and it's like, hey, we gotta climb those. So we pulled over and free climbed them. No ropes, nothing. Let me tell you, when you're butt 75 feet off a pile of rocks and that next handhold's about 3 inches out of reach, you find out what you're made of, because there ain't no going down at that point. But yeah, we made it. Obviously, I'm still here to tell you about it. But that cabin back there is part of the story. So we get all the way up to the top, and we need to celebrate. We walk around a bit, and hey, there's this great big freaking boulder sitting there. Well, let's sit on top of that and enjoy the view. And as we're walking up to it, Scott's like, well, maybe you want to double check this, and he just barely touched it with his foot, and that thing started moving. Got crap. It took a while, but it started rolling slowly, and the momentum, it tried stopping a couple times, but it had enough momentum, and it kept going, and then it accelerated, and over the side it went. We're sitting there looking over the side of the cliff, and we're watching the tops of trees getting dragged down with this boulder just rolling over them. And we're kind of looking at each other going, whoa. Hope nobody's down there. Again, it was just us, but we look to the right and we see a guy out on the back deck of his cabin. That cabin I pointed out to you with a pair of binoculars, looking up, and suddenly we were leaving. Hustled on down, jumped in the car, and got the hell out of there. Didn't really do anything wrong, but suppose didn't do anything right either. Funny way to look at it. But yeah, that would be your typical Saturday. My buddy and I, we'd find something crazy to do like that just about every weekend. Good times. So many good times. Can't even get into the skiing stories. I could go on forever with those. But yeah, I'll tell that story fondly for many years to come. And with that being said, we're just going to go back to turning up the tunes and doing some riding. Well, I should find a place to pull over and do a change of attire. I got one layer too many on, or I could probably get rid of my riding jacket and put on my windbreaker and swap out gloves. Hey, that's a stop sign. Maybe we ought to.